is the, in biblical Greek, is soteria. Soteria. Now that is the word that is used by Christ himself. Saved means salvation. And this is the word that he uses for salvation. In the koine, in the language of Christ himself. This is the verb that is used. Now, I'm going to finish the quotation. I'll start it over again. Look into yourself and you'll discover within that which will save you, provide you with salvation. If you do not look within and discover that which will save you, then instead it will destroy you. That's the end of the quotation. Now, what are you going to do with that? I don't know. I say it cannot be explained rationally. It can be only perceived intuitively. Now, in trying to prepare this lecture material, it's impossible because the subject is so enormous, and so controversial, and so laden with ambiguities that it's difficult to approach the subject in any meaningful sense. I'm going to try. But in any event, these three quotations I've given you are also Buddhist in their temper. Now, I'm not the first to observe that. Elaine Pagel, who published the original book, which is still in print and paperback, by the way, and still where you start. Elaine Pagel's The Gnostic Gospels is the title. It can cost you $10 in paperback. If you want to invest $10 more, you can buy a copy in paperback of her doctoral dissertation, which is a brilliant piece of work. So is the Gnostic Gospels. But in any event, I say that these quotations I've just given to you are Buddhist koans. In 1946 and 47, I spent 15 months in a Buddhist monastery. The Daidarmaji was the name of the monastery. It was in Kyoto, Japan. One of the most important things we learned in the monastery, I was an acolyte, along with 19 other Japanese. They didn't speak in English, and I didn't speak much Japanese, but of course, I learned it pretty quickly if I planned to have lunch on any given day. But anyway, a central concept for the Buddhists is mu. It translates, it does not translate at all. It translates as nothingness or emptiness or void. But that's wrong. That isn't what it is at all, because that void, that emptiness, is laden with somethingness. It's charged with a powerful field force inside of it. And I think you really have to be locked up in a monastery and exposed to this sort of thing all day, in a very wonderful way, and you can come to comprehend what this is. I'm not going to explain what mu is, but in the tradition of Bushido, the warrior code, it extends to the warrior code. Mu extends all the way through these Oriental civilizations. Mu is what the warrior does when the sword comes up to the shoulder and he prepares to swipe his opponent off the map. What he does is when the sword comes up to the shoulder, he engages in mu, nothingness. That is, he empties his mind. He divests himself of all thought and all human sympathies and all human feelings for an instant. And this is the preparation for the great stroke with which he hopes to cut his enemy in two. Now, it applies to the martial arts, but it also, of course, applies profoundly to Buddhism. The ideal in Buddhism is the empty mirror. You look into the mirror, and what do you see? You see nothing. You see mu, the void. You don't see anything. That's the achievement that you get, the crowning achievement if you become a student of Buddhism. But I say the essence of the teaching of the mu occurs in the koan. You've heard the most famous koan. What is the sound of one hand clapping? The most famous of the koans. But the koans are the primary teaching mode in the monastery. and that is but you don't perceive them intellectually. You're not permitted that. That is, the monk cop or the monk master who is doing the teaching comes into the students and he throws out the koan. And then he says, you, respond, and you must respond immediately before the rational processes take over. What you do is you get something out at super speed because he has in his hand what is called a perfume board. Now, perfume board is a modified baseball bat. This is raised, as he says, the koan, and if he doesn't get an instant response, he swings. It's heavy, it's hard, it is swung violently across the shoulder blades. It is a searing pain. I have felt a perfume board on more than one occasion because I wasn't fast enough. You must come out with the answer to it immediately, or the answer isn't valid. And this is true of the three quotations I've just given you. That is, they must be responded to intuitively and instantly, and you must divest yourself of all of the rational apparatus that you have. That is, 2 + 2 = 4. You're in trouble already with that, because you see you've made a conclusion. 2 + 2 is 4. By the way, that is wholly arbitrary for the Aztecs. 2 + 2 = 5. And you don't struggle to try to prove that 2 + 2 = 4, because it doesn't. It does in this civilization and this society. But 2 + 2 to the Aztecs for about 800 years equaled 5, and they could prove it mathematically. They were brilliant mathematicians. All right. I'm not going to turn to the Buddhism very often because it's distractive, but it is also fascinating. Elaine Pagels says in her most recent book, The Gospel of Thomas, she says that these problems of Buddhism and the connection between Buddhism and the Gnostic tradition is being studied in London, which is the world center for Buddhism. There are about a dozen famous Buddhist institutes there in London. And they're studying formally now the subject of possibly a historical correlation between Buddhism and the Gnostic tradition. Okay, change of subject. What is gnosis? Gnosis simply means usually translated as knowledge. I think that's quite wrong. It isn't knowledge because it is a process. It's knowing. The gerund is where the truth is here, grammatically. It's knowing. And by knowing, by engaging the process of knowing, you are engaging in the process of gnosis. You must be aware of the fact that English is the only European language which has one word to know. That won't do. It's inadequate. The English is inadequate in this sense. That is, the word know or knowledge covers the most superficial